All right, example 2. So drawing a reduction that's half as large as the original. So here we've got kind of this hexagonal shape. Again, we need to actually give it a reference point. Otherwise, we've got to measure the shapes again. So in the book, they actually put it onto grid paper. And again, we're just going to kind of map out how much space this is taking up. Okay, and it looks like it's a 4 by 4 grid. So if we're going to change that shape to half the size, then instead of 4 by 4, it should fit into then a 2 by 2 grid. We're cutting both those dimensions in half. Okay, and so we just have to pick a point. I'm going to take that, it's right in the middle. Okay, so if I'm going to jump and meet that middle point, it's going to also be in the middle. So instead of going down 2, it's cut in half, so it's going to go down to 1. Okay, and then so on the other side we'd have this point. Then from here, if I'm going to try and find this point, I would go on the original shape, I'm going down 1 and across 2. And so here instead I'm going to cut both of those dimensions in half, go down half and across 1. So we can kind of get that point right there. And it's going to look the same on the other side. So now this thing is starting to take some shape. Looks like that. Right, we've got kind of those first 2 pieces here. Now it's going to kind of mirror it on the other side, so it's down 1 and across 2, so it's down half. So the other 2 points are going to be here and here. And so I'm pretty much ready to finish this shape off. I just have to complete it here and here. And so it kind of looks the same as this shape. It's similar, it's just been reduced. Okay, scale factor is 1/2, which is reduced, being cut in half. Okay, last example here. We've got a kind of a cross shape, Switzerland cross, looks like kind of like a square. For some reason they have it kind of in the middle. I'm just going to redraw this just so that it's got half and then 1, 2, 3.5, so then that brings us to 4. So I prefer to have it looking like this. And then it's 1 full, 1 across. So this just makes more sense in my head to draw it like that. Okay, so again, we can use a method to make the scale factor 0.5. So 0.5 means all the dimensions are multiplied by 0.5. In other words, it's being cut in half. Okay, so this is kind of a 4 by 4 square again. So I'm going to be taking up a 2 by 2 square, and I'll try and just draw it as we go. Okay, so here's this. If I just pick a spot to start on, this is going across 2. So I'm going to pick that point in the corner, and instead it's going to go half as far. It's going to just go across 1. And instead of going down 1, it's just going to be half the way across. And same thing here. Instead of going a full 1, it's going to be 1/2. And then from here, instead of going down 2, it's going to be 1. So we're already halfway in between a square, so we're going to go to the next one halfway in between. And this thing starts to take shape. You're going to realize that it is symmetrical. So you're just going to be kind of continuing that same process around the other side. If you ever get lost, just make sure you're doing the same kind of thing on both. Okay, so there's a shape that has a scale factor of 1/2. Okay, just make sure that every part of your shape, right, if you check any part, this part, it's a distance of 1, so if on here it should be half of a square, and anywhere on the shape it should have that same relationship. Okay, so you've got a few questions to practice on page 136.